Hey guys, Scott here, and I wanted to finally give my impressions on the Oni. I think I've played him for a couple days now on the PTB, and I think I kind of get it. And yeah, I want to go over what I think about him, what I think should probably be changed, and yeah, we'll go from there. I don't really have a script for this. This is sort of just something I did right after my stream. I just played him a bunch, and let's start with how strong do I think he is. Right now, I think the Oni is pretty much tied with Hillbilly. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. I think he might be slightly under the Spirit, but basically what I'm saying is he is an extremely good killer. He is very, very, very strong. And I'm 100% sure they're going to nerf him before they release him. And I'll go over why. But first off, his actual power. His huge downside is that at the beginning of the match, he has no power. He has nothing. So the way Oni works is he has to hit people to cause them to bleed, and bleeding survivors emit these blood orbs that he kind of sucks off the ground, and then he can fuel that for his power, and then he goes into this blood raged power where for I forget the exact duration, he can go into this dash where he moves very fast and has a one-shot attack. Now the movement on the dash is kind of like Hillbilly's Chainsaw, except with like twice as good steering. You can strafe, and there's no penalty for actually bumping into a wall. So it is Hillbilly's Chainsaw on like Omega crack. It is much, much better than Billy's Chainsaw. The obvious downside is you don't always get to use it. At the start of the match, Billy can just, go chainsaw anywhere he wants and start chasing someone in 10 seconds. Oni is pathetic at the beginning of the match. He has nothing. He is just a plain killer. He has no power to help you chase at all. So he has to just kind of walk around and hit people. The thing is, really, all he has to do is hit somebody once, which if you're a good killer, you're still going to get a hit in, under a minute. Even if you're going against a great team, someone is going to get hit in under a minute. Not everyone is always going to be at a perfect spot to loop you for, 3 gens. That's just not how it ever works. So that being said, you might lose a gen or two before you get your first hit, and that sucks. And that is by far where he is at his weakest, because he's got nothing to really help with that. That's why I think he still needs Rune, even though he's so strong. However, once he gets his power, if he gets his power and he sees a survivor, as long as you know what you're doing with the Oni, the survivor's dead in like 10 seconds. There's basically no countering him in a chase. I tried this against, a lot of different people. I tried it against even like good survivors, and there is basically nothing you can do. You can't drop pallets early because he can break the pallets in like a second. He has like mega brutal strength with his power up. You can't really try to loop it because he will outspeed you around the loop, and he can turn around it. And if it's a shorter loop, he can just simply go to a corner of it and then lunge in the complete opposite direction at the end of his charge and still hit you. So there's seemingly no counter. In my entire time playing him so far, I have not seen a single person counter him. And I don't think this is going to be a situation where it's like just adapt to the spirit or just learn how to play against there. There are pallets, windows, and there are, the ability to like hide. That's it. Those are the 3 main like tenets of defense survivors have. And yeah, he can't do anything about stealth, but again, so no one can do anything about stealth. That's just how the game works. But stealth isn't really countering the killer. It's doing everything in your power to avoid a killer who is so strong that you can't do anything when he's chasing you. So I don't really consider stealth a counter. You can consider it a counter if you want. I have never considered stealth a counter to any killer because you're basically just admitting he's so strong, I can't do shit once he's actually chasing me. So basically you're left with, pallets and windows, things like that. And he doesn't care about either of them. The only thing that'll slow him down for a second is like a god window, like at Ironworks of Misery. But even then, he can just vault the window and outspeed you before you can get back to the window again. So even that, he's okay with. And this, like I said, this is not just against random people. Like, I even went against the Otofu. We wanted to test, if there were any counters. And I used my power like 10 times, and he literally could not last longer than 5 seconds, like any time. And he is a much better survivor than me. And again, it's not because just adapt, bro. It's not like there's some mysterious thing that after 3 years people have not figured out. You only have, the basics of defense against killers, and he can get around all of them. And I will show you some examples of that right now. Alright, so here is a clip of me going against Tofu. We just tested a bunch of chases, like I said, and I think this is the best clip to kind of exemplify how he basically has no options no matter what he does, and we'll just go from there. All right, so he's giving my power because we were just testing, and then all right, so I am still way back here, right? And I haven't even started using my power yet. I'm way back here, and Tofu's right here. So he goes into the loop. I start charging. Within 1 second, I'm right. Oh, I'm at the pallet already. Within 1 second, I've gone from here. I went here. I Z'd around here. I basically made a Z, and now I'm right here. So at this point, if you go straight for the window, as you can see, he's dead. So that doesn't work. Now, if he were to try to loop around and go this way, he would probably be about here right then. But at this point, I'm already right here. I would have seen he's not at the window. I would have hugged this corner. I would have met him here, lunged around the side. He would have been dead there. So that doesn't work either. Now, what if maybe he went around here and went right and then past the wall and just sort of waited there to try to trick me? Well, again, I would round the corner. I would see he's not here. The scratches are not going this way. They're going that way. I'd be blocking the pallet. I'd cancel my power, which has no cooldown, and then I just hit him in the face. So no matter what he did, he has no options. The only thing he could have done here that would have been a slight net gain is jump in this locker to make me use up all of my power to kill him. But basically here, the correct counterplay here is to kill yourself in a locker. I'm not actually joking. The correct counterplay is to kill yourself in a locker, which is, that's not good. Now, initially I thought, against like these short loops, like in Blood Lodge, you wouldn't be able to use your power. And if you have no add-ons, that might be true. If you have no movement speed add-ons, no charge type add-ons, you're just pure base kit, you might not be able to use your power around these loops. But these loops last like only 5 seconds anyway, because you basically get one loop out of it and then you gotta break it. So that's not a big deal. But if you have any add-ons at all, you can still counter it because you can do a flick at the end. So I would start charging my power here. He's basically on the other side of the loop. And the thing is, all I have to do is make it to this halfway point. Once I make it to the halfway point, you can already see the start of it. I'm aiming this way. I do a full 180, and then I smack him with this. And the AoE of this mallet is massive, so all I gotta do is just turn around, and I can just 180 and counter the entire loop. So even short loops don't work at all. And this is not like a rarity thing. This is a consistent thing. And like, for example, even if I get to something like here and I'm not on the right side of it to even initiate this, all I have to do is get in a position, cancel my power, redo it, and then just start again. And then do the exact same thing. The no cooldown on the power makes it so I can just always get in a position whenever I want. And there's no downside to it. There's no way to stop it. And that flick makes it so, like, there's nothing you can do. Alright, so all that being said, I still am not sure if he's actually overpowered or not. The thing is, he reminds me very, very much of the Spirit, in the sense that the Spirit can definitely lose a 1v4 scenario. She'll win every chase, but she still, might take too long, or they might be really fast with gens, and she could still actually lose the match. It's the 1v1 chase scenario where they don't really have anything to do. There's no real counter to it. Oni reminds me of the exact same thing. It is basically, he is very weak at the beginning, and because of that, his actual ability to win the match against a perfect team of survivors is not necessarily overpowered at all. It's just once he does get his power, all power is removed from the survivors. They no longer can do anything. And I always bring this up. It's not a matter of overpowered or underpowered. It's a matter of unfulfilling to play against. Like, I don't know what survivors can do. I cannot think of anything survivors can do. And a lot of this is just without add-ons. You throw add-ons in on top of this, and it's even more ridiculous. Like, I don't want to say that he needs to be nerfed because of his, his relatively awful early game. But I cannot imagine the survivor experience going against this one. If you're going against a good Oni, it's going to be like going against a good Spirit. The only difference is you can see him coming for your ass, and you're still going to go down. So I don't know. Like, usually when I make these videos, I'm like, okay, so here's what we can do to fix that. I don't know. I don't know what to do. If you nerf that flick, you remove skill cap, you make him way less fun, so that sucks. If you nerf his penalty for picking people up, you make it better because survivors are not having to be slugged anymore, and that, is a better experience for survivors, but now you're nerfing the killer. And there's so, he just has so many things going for him that I don't even know where to start. He's got, like, tracking with the blood. He's got the mobility of Billy. He's got way more mobility than Billy, actually. He's just got a normal, regular one-shot while his power's open. You don't even have to use his dash. You can just whack people and one-shot them. His one-shot also multi-cleaves people, so if they have borrowed time, it'll hit them multiple times. If they're going for unhooks, you'll hit them both. He instantly shreds pallets. Like, he has so many things going for him that I don't even know where to start. I do think he needs some type of change, and if I had to suggest anything, I would say the AoE of his bat needs to be nerfed. I was swinging at people and hitting them when I was, like, almost a full screen off. It is way too forgiving. It needs to reward skilled aiming with your flick. I think it should be a much smaller hitbox because that shit is way too big. So that's one thing I definitely agree should change. Another thing that I think should change, and I actually talked to some people and they actually are changing it, the penalty for picking up is actually going down a bit, which is really nice. So it's not going to go down that much, but it's basically making it less incentivized to slug because nobody likes slugging. Killer gets less points, survivors don't get to play the game, everyone's upset when they're slugging. So, because right now he is the slug god. He is the best slugging killer in the game by far, because that's really the only way to play him. If you don't slug with him, he's actually kind of bad because every time you pick somebody up, you lose like half your power. There are add-ons that make this so this doesn't happen, but that's, running add-ons every game. I like to balance it based off of, his default. So, man, what do you do? I don't know. I'm so conflicted because there's so many possible things you can do. I just don't want them to change the flick because that's so fun and it actually rewards skillful play. I do want them to make the AoE smaller so you have to be very precise with it. But other than that, I don't even know where to start. Because if you touch one thing, you might make him really shit in terms of winning the actual game. If you touch another thing, he might be even more oppressive in the actual 1v1 scenario. So I don't know what to do. I know it's only been a couple days, so usually with these things I have more time to think about it, but this is just a first impressions thing, and I don't know what to do. The problem is he's so fun. He is so fun to play. I don't even want them to change it. Now I know how spirits feel. Like, I actually know how spirit mains feel. Like, oh my god, he is so fun to play, but he's pretty much as uncounterable in a chase as spirit. So, I don't know what to do, man. I don't want them to make him less fun, but, oh, he's so fun to play. That's all I got. I know I didn't really offer much in the way of solutions here, but this was just a first impressions, not a how to fix him or what to change about him video, so there you go. I love him to death. He's probably my favorite killer in the game right now, but I do think he's a little unfair in the actual chase. But yeah, that's all I got for now, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.